seamless movement of data, automation, intelligent systems are all very important for the future of air cargo because the industry is becoming increasingly complex and rapidly digitalized. Now, you not only need the for-profit private companies, but also research institutions and non-profit institutions to take care of the research and the development part of it. The Fraunhofer Institute of Material Flow and Logistics in Germany is a research-based think tank that is specializing in logistics. They have different departments for aviation, maritime, and even the ground transport. Hi all, this is Libin Chacko Kurian from the Start Times. We are here in Munich, Germany for Air Cargo Europe and Transport Logistics exhibitions. Right now I'm joined by the head of the aviation department of the Fraunhofer Institute of Material Flow and Logistics. Harald, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting.
Thanks. Let's get into the topic of what you're doing at Fraunhofer, the cool stuff that you do at Fraunhofer. Tell us about what your department is doing in terms of helping the air cargo automate their movement of cargo. What are the biggest achievements of the Institute?
Actually, if you look at air cargo, we have different strands where we go into helping air cargo to get around more fluently, meaning between stakeholders. We have a pretty divided transport chain, and in the first place, you need data to be transferred. You need the data then later, maybe also in other systems for artificial intelligence, better forecasting cargo volume to be expected for the next 2 weeks, for example. Then you can steer better your resources. On the other end, we have those autonomous systems where we test robots, how far they are currently, in order to go with our customers and clients into projects, helping them, making their processes more smooth and helping them for filling the need for people at the end. So we do have robots like Spot from Boston Dynamics. We have own robots that we are developing, and we put them into application. I thank you that you introduced Fraunhofer, and one thing I need to add is we are the leading organization for applied research. So we are a think tank going together with industry into their projects and helping them to align their processes and to do a lot of cool stuff.
Okay, I know this is a non-profit institution, but give an idea about how your institution is getting funded. It's a German institution. You are part of a bigger research institution. You have 76 different institutions, and the IML is one of them.
Yes.
Yeah. So give me an idea about how.
So the Fraunhofer Gesellschaft, how we call it, it's a big roof organization. As you described, we are having 77 institutes, and each of them has its own field of research. So meaning you can go into medicine, you can go into pharmaceuticals, you can go into all kinds of stuff that you can imagine. So Fraunhofer is doing a lot, and we, as coming from the aviation logistics, we have access to all this knowledge of all 34,000 employees of Fraunhofer. So if we have a problem, we have a solution for it somewhere in our universe, and we find it, and then if not, we can even invent things for our clients. But coming back to your original question in terms of funding, funding is differentiated for Fraunhofer for publicly funded projects, such as the digital testbed air cargo, which was funded by the German government in order to find ways to get digitization into air cargo. This is one part, and the other part is industry money. So we are having contracts directly with industry. They are contacting us if they are having challenges in their processes, and we develop together with them, bringing our ideas and knowledge into those projects, kind of consulting them, but it's a high-end thing because we kind of do a specific consulting in terms of as a research project. So it's industry research and publicly funded research for Fraunhofer.
Tell us about some of the stakeholders that get involved with Fraunhofer. I know there are airports coming in, freight forwarders. Give an idea about how you collaborate with them to create the solutions.
I can give you different examples here. Since I'm coming from the field of aviation, my examples will be aviation, but those can be transferred to each area you can imagine. Like I said, each institute has its own field of research. So coming back to aviation, we had once a request from Munich Airport, for example, to develop a robot for loading and unloading loose luggage into an aircraft, which could later be used also for air cargo. And there was none of such a device available. So we did a market research first and looked what is available out there. And then we said, okay, there is none out there. So are you interested in developing a robot? And then we developed a robot, for example, and we have been awarded a contract by Munich Airport in that case. We do have other projects where we go into analyzing and doing studies in terms of lifting aids, for example. There was yet another airport that was interested, what is the best lifting aids for their purposes. So we take the requirements, we look what is out there, and then we evaluate. Or we had another example, we had a big airport in the Middle East where we had the need for a new cargo terminal. So we went together with a consortium into developing from the scratch a greenfield planning, a new cargo terminal, considering then by developing it, all different developments out there which are there or which are there to come, so that you are prepared with your infrastructure for the future at the end.
You have different type of interventions, as you mentioned. One is predictive analysis. The other one is autonomous operations. Take me through each of them. Where are we in terms of that developments?
When we go into such projects, we take systems, we challenge them. We are researchers. We want to see whether they are really as good as people say they are. For example, if you go into AI, a lot of people use it as a buzzword. Like everybody knows about AI, or at least believes they know about AI. They're using the word, but quite frankly, a lot of them, they are not aware what is really possible with AI. And some even think it's the solution for everything. For predictive analytics, we went into a project and said, okay, come on, how can we do a better planning for personnel and others in future if we are here and look into the future for 2 weeks? Then we said, okay, let's do it with predictive analytics. We took an AI, we adapted it, all the parameters, everything connected to it. And at the end, we had a result, which was really quite intriguing. On the other end, we said, okay, what does it mean intriguing? I mean, what do we compare it against? So we looked into it and said, okay, how about if we take standard mathematical models, which are out there already for years, and we do the same thing. We ask the models, what will be in 2 weeks? And the surprising result was that depending on the quality of the data, the information you need, the volume of the data, so depending on your requirements at the end and what you can provide for a system, AI outperformed mathematical models, but also the other way around. So it's not only a silver bullet, it's really, you need to look at it as a system. So, and this knowledge we bring into our project. So it's not only AI, it's not only automation, it's all about having the proper setup for your requirements as a stakeholder in the transport chain. And the same is true for the robotic systems. We challenge them, we rent it even for big money devices, and we put them into different situations, have had them tested. And this was also exciting because you always get those high glossy brochures. But we are testing it, how far they can keep up to the promises, those systems. And this is the knowledge that we bring into our projects, and by that really bringing benefit to our clients, because they know that we know, and this is kind of a shortcut for everybody out there using our knowledge pool.
Okay, you are researchers and you deal with many of the stakeholders in the air cargo community. You deal with the airports, you deal with the airlines, and the freight forwarders. Tell me about what you're hearing from them in terms of what are their biggest challenges which you can solve or you are intending to solve.
At the end, the stakeholders out there, they are pretty open now for new developments. But they, let's say, like I said, they need the guidance, what will really help them. And we help them in terms of also looking at, do they make money at the end? You know, you can do it for marketing purposes, of course, and you're cool and you're having all the coolest hot stuff out there in application, and then it's kind of a marketing, but it's not really something that might help you in earning money. So the thing is, we help them in earning money, and the biggest challenges out there is, for example, for air cargo, getting information, getting reliable information, getting also information not only about the cargo, where it is, when it is going to come, but then also what is the status? Is it cooled or not? And then we know that there's, for example, some devices out there tracking and monitoring already some cargo. And you can, for example, use that information for other cargo as well, if it's on the same pallet or whatever. So there are a lot of, let's say, areas where we can help, where we can provide information. And one of the biggest things out there currently under development is the One Record standard of IATA. And this is where we can help a lot. This is where we cooperate with IATA in order to not only promote, but really foster an environment where we have it at the end a standard that will help everybody. Because then, if One Record flies, we will have a system where you have all information that you need available according to your access rights. It's a decentralized system, and you always are or will be in control of your own data in your own system, but you grant others access to it over a special piece of software.
Take us through that One Record thing. What are your interventions there? Particularly, I know that the Neon server that you have created based on that. Tell us about where we are right now and what you're hearing from your stakeholders.
This is really an exciting area currently. I mean, the digital testbed air cargo that we present here in Munich also, funded by the German government. There we have different strands, and one is data exchange. And in the beginning, we just said, okay, we want to improve that for the stakeholders. And we didn't fix ourselves or already said we want to use One Record. We said, okay, there are other initiatives out there. EFTI, so FT. We do have mobility data space. We have all other kind of systems. But then we looked at it and said, okay, One Record is already considering some of those standards like FT as well. So you're kind of FT ready. And on the other end, it is a standard that was out there, not, let's say, far enough developed to put in application at the time when we moved into it. But it was one that was, let's say, supported by IATA and then fostered there again to provide the system for our industry. And therefore, this won over the other systems in our eyes because it's about the compatibility, and we have an all accepted system at the end. And we went into One Record then in the beginning and saw and identified some, let's say, flaws, not major ones, but important ones. And then we went into those together with the working groups of IATA as a project and developed it further to a stage where we said at a certain point, okay, we as a project want to develop now a software, making available those access things which we are dreaming of with One Record. So we developed for lots of money, multiple thousands of euros, the Neon software. And Brandon Sullivan, in his last opening speech in Dubai, you have seen it most likely, he mentioned Neon, our software, that this is the one that here in Germany we have developed, and we are cooperating with IATA in order to drive it even further. And the software, with all what it's worth, we put as an open source software online, and it's free of charge. You can just download it and you go and can start already. There are still flaws in the system. We are working on that as well. But this is now in the next stage now that we continue the development of this piece of software. So you can start, and it was really a success, or is a success story. When we started putting it ready for up or download, people started to download it immediately. In the first month already, we had 2,000 downloads a month. You have to imagine, this is a research project. This was quite intriguing, exciting for us that we had such exciting results then at the end.
Interesting, and all the best for that. But the digital testbed air cargo is a very interesting project that we are doing, and it is funded by the government of Germany. Give us an idea about on what stage we are and what we can expect in the future of that project.
The project itself has had 6 sub-projects. So this was the first phase. So we had the data exchange. We developed a special standardized QR code that we call it Neon Tag. And this can everybody use and use the app, which you can also download for free, to scan it. And then you can have a connection to your system. And according to your access right, you see immediately the information that you need. No matter whether you are a ground handler, handling agent, a forwarder, an airline, you can just go for it, scan it, and then you have, with this tag, the information access to one record, to this environment that I have described with the Neon software. And on the other end, we had things like predictive analytics. I have explained that before, with this mathematical and AI systems running against each other and having a more accurate forecast on air cargo. And then we have those autonomous processes, meaning at the apron and also within the warehouse, where we combine robotic systems, having a handover between the systems to cover the process from the air side to the land side entirely by robotic systems. And this was really exciting as well. So this is the contents of the digital testbed air cargo. And in the continuation now, we are working again in those 3 major strands, meaning data exchange and the Neon Tag, the predictive analytics and other AI things. We have Gen AI systems developed now to do compliance checks, whether your customs forms are filled correctly. Those things we are doing there, and we are also providing this software then to people interested in it. And then we have still, and again, the robotics strand, where we look into a new robotic system able to transport ULDs indoor and outdoor. So there are a lot of exciting things, because if you do that, you need also some kind of hub control center where you control the systems. They are driving, and they will sooner or later end up in some kind of deadlock, and then you need a control system. And this is what we are working on as well. So it's a lot. It's a big project, and we are really excited, and we are looking forward to provide even more information in the next months to come.
Take us through the robotics journey as well. Uh, uh, where are you testing these things, and can we see some of these things implemented in some of the airports, for example, where it is?
The tests that we are doing within DTAC, we have distributed all over Germany on different airports. This is kind of the organizational setup and idea of DTAC, that we say, or we said in the beginning already, we need to pull everybody on board in Germany in order to foster acceptance. Because if we would have developed something for Berlin, for Frankfurt or Munich, it would have always been in the eyes of other airports a development from there, and would have hardly found any acceptance at all. So we took almost any and everybody of importance on board on DTAC, and then we tested, for example, the robotic system at the apron in Stuttgart. We tested the machine-machine interface testing within a warehouse. We tested here in Munich at the Munich airport, and we had done those tests last year, and now we have the experience how to make systems better, and this is something that we put into the systems we are developing currently. So the tests on that end for the warehouse, for example, they are over, but there are new tests to come to enrich again our knowledge base then.
Okay, you are the head for the Department of Aviation at the Institute. You also have the departments for maritime and
Yes.
ground transport. What is happening over there, if you can give a sneak peek?
So we do have, let's say, different developments. Like one of those systems that we had developed within our institute, we developed, for example, EvoBot or Odin, 2 systems that we tested for the field of aviation, were originally developed in Dortmund for other purposes. So we just identified them and said, okay, let's try them. Let's help also the other departments in order to give them some application knowledge within our field in order to improve their systems on that end again. And there again, if you look on some of the cool stuff happening in the institutes, we have drone swarms, we have swarm intelligence, we have things happening like neural access, like those things that you put over your head and steer things without touching. We are doing a lot of those experiments at our institute as well, and those are really also exciting things happening there. And I always enjoy, you know, since we are located in Frankfurt and our institute is 200-300 kilometers away, I always enjoy coming back after even 2 or 3 months again to our headquarters, seeing the new developments there. So it's really exciting, this exchange and this helping each other in terms of content.
As the head of the aviation department at the institute, what are your immediate priorities right now? What are you focusing on right now?
We have two major, let's say, trends. We have talked about digitization, this is one. So with all those beauties, with predictive analytics, robotic systems, you name them. Sustainability. And there we have also a big flagship project within the Green Deal of the European Commission, where we are one of the 4 core drivers of this project. And there we are looking how aviation can become and will become more sustainable at the end. But if you ask me for my personal favorite for the moment, it's the autonomous cone that we are working at. So we are working at a cone that can drive by itself to the position that is needed, for example, under an aircraft, position itself, and then it's sitting there, and then when the airport is leaving again, it just drives away automatically by itself again. So this is one of the cute things. We have it here at the fair, and we had it also at our party yesterday evening.
Okay, interesting. One last question. You are researchers, you are coming from an institution. I can see your colleagues here. Tell us about how interesting it is to deal with the industry stakeholders here, who are more, they're not researchers, they are more into business. They're looking at the profit, they're looking at the numbers, for example. How interesting is to collaborate with them and talk with them, for example?
Actually, I studied economics and engineering together. So it's the ideal mix for approaching and talking with customers. So for me, it's really exciting because we understand those numbers. We go there, ask them, and we know that at the end they have to earn money. They have their stakeholders. They want to see profit and they want to see success. And like I said before, success can be for marketing purposes, to go into innovation, but also to improve yourself and have a setup where you still be operatable in future, even though you have a lack in personnel maybe, because you need personnel, and we have different developments here, especially in the industrialized countries. We see that people become older, and at the end you have not as many people as you need to do all the service around an aircraft, for example. And so nobody has to be afraid about all those systems that we are working at, because we are not replacing, we are kind of filling in for people missing. And this is something that we have to realize, and we have to give also those robots then at the end a chance. But on the other hand, not all of the robots are ready yet, and this is what we want to do. We want to give them a drive and put them forward, put them into operation. But like I said, also considering that our clients need to earn money.
Harald, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.